Our non-profit and NGO groups are often one of the first points of contact for tens of thousands of Ukrainian refugees crossing borders every day. One organization called Walk With Me Global took these pictures on the Moldova-Ukraine border. A child too weak to walk is seen being pushed in a shopping trolley to a waiting ambulance. The organization's founder, Melissa Mitchell, says they're also working on the Polish border.
Behind me, you see the line just coming in over the border of West Ukraine near the city of Medica, and there are just thousands of people coming. We heard today that there is a train out of Lviv that will bring about 10,000 people to this destination, and they're really, as you've seen on the news, moms and babies and children and elderly. So we're just here trying to help with logistics, giving out some supplies, and we really need your help. It's going to be a long road for many of them. They need transport, they need housing, they need food, and so many moms carrying little babies. It's just really heartbreaking.
Melissa Mitchell recently returned to Doha and joins us now via Zoom. Thanks very much for being with us. So we just played that clip of you talking about the conditions in the camp there and the immediate needs of people. I'm wondering if you can expand a little bit about that, because you got back from Poland and Moldova. So just tell us a little bit about what it was like at the border there.
Sure. It was, we saw a lot of tragedy and we saw a lot of heroism. And I think one of the things that touched me the most was at that border crossing, those were everyday people just like you and me that were showing up. We had to actually park about 2 miles away and walk in. There were so many people from Poland who came in to help. So that was one of the things that really touched me the most, just the normal everyday people stepping up to the plate, opening their hearts, opening their homes, opening their wallets, and really helping these refugees that are fleeing over the border.
And I know your work has taken you to a number of places in the Middle East, to Syria, Yemen, Iraq. How does what you've seen there on the border with Ukraine, how does that compare with your experience in those countries?
It's actually quite different. For those of us who are in the nonprofit world, navigating in an EU country is something that we've never done. So learning how to set up all the logistics, getting medication, getting supplies, setting up field hospitals, those things are a lot more complicated in an EU country. So it's been a learning curve for all of us who've been there on the front lines, especially in those early days.
And how do you raise money for these projects? Because it must be hard when there are so many conflicts going on at the moment that you're managing.
Sure. For us, we're a really grassroots organization, and our funding comes mostly from private. We have some foundations that have funded us, some churches, and like Texas A&M students, they build our medical clinics and some of our education spaces around the globe. So really what we're best at is just building a diverse network of organizations and people who help us on the ground.
I'm wondering if you could tell me as well, from some of the Ukrainians that you spoke to there, what their intentions for the future are. Do they see themselves coming back to Ukraine at some point, or is has things reached a point where there's no going back now?
Well, it depends on which country you're in. In Moldova, we see them just transiting through. They might stay 2 or 3 days, and then they go on to other places like Germany, somewhere in the UK. So that's a very transient group. But on the Polish side, what we're hearing and what we're seeing and talking to people is that they really want to go home. So they're staying near. There's a lot of them. There's probably 100,000 now. You probably have more numbers that are accurate than I do, staying right in Warsaw. But on the borders, it's quite complicated in these countries because they're really villages. They're village borders. It's not like a city. So they come in and they're greeted by now nonprofits as well as the local people, just like you and I, and then they're transited into other cities. So a lot of them in Poland want to stay and they want to go back. They want to go back home.
Good to talk to you, Melissa Mitchell. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.